Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Clangin Bangin with Mikey, episode 166. And today we're going to talk about, actually this whole entire month is cerebral palsy awareness. And ironically, like I've mentioned before on several episodes way back in the beginning, excuse me, what I mentioned before way back in the beginning with these episodes is cerebral palsy and working out. Ironically, this channel was really created to document my bodybuilding. And I think it's time we go back to that because prep wraps up not this week but next week. I'm doing nationals. It's in July, so right now I'm about 156, about 156, and so usually my stage weight is about 140, 145. Yeah, not that heavy on stage. Main thing is conditioning for me. But anyway, I don't mean to slurp my coffee. Cerebral palsy, it creates imbalances in the way you walk and in the way you can grasp certain things like pencils and pens and all that stuff, right? So it makes it difficult because growing up my grip wasn't, I couldn't really hold small objects like pens and pencils. So what they had to do, they had to put like these elongated rubber things on the pens and pencils so I could grip them because my grip wasn't that good. My fine motor skills wasn't that good. Um, but cerebral palsy is actually classified as a traumatic brain injury because it affects the part of your brain where your motor skills, your speech, all your fine motor skills are affected either during birth, after birth, or right before birth. And it has to do with you being premature and the whole nine, right? So with that being said, it's imperative to know that even though you have CP, and there are many pages and channels on CP that talk about CP and what it is and how people with CP have, you know, really productive lives for the most part. And there's different versions of CP. There's spastics. There's severe CP. There's X. There's so many different variations of this disability. Because first things first, it's not a disease. It's not something that you catch. It's not something that you get from a blood transfusion. It just happens, I had already aforementioned, either before birth, during birth, or right after birth. And it's imperative to understand that just because you have CP doesn't mean you can't live life to the fullest. My twin brother had CP. He's no longer with us. But he lived life to the fullest, man. He lived 35 full years. This man traveled. He visited 14 different states in 18 plus years, that he did travel. He wanted to do anything and everything that he could do. He always wanted to be out. He always wanted to be, you know, um, be in the social circles. He always wanted to know what was going on with people. He always wanted to know how people were doing. And he always had this jovious, energetic energy about him. And we need more people like that, man. Not we just need more people to be happy all the time. And because I've only seen my brother mad twice. Um, the first time was when Kobe dropped 81 points in a game, and I had not recorded the game, and we was in high school, and he got so angry at me. And because I was like, he was like, man, did you record the game? Like, what you talking about? He's like, bruh, Kobe dropped 81. Shit, my bad. I deleted the game because I deleted the recording before the game started. And my brother was pissed. And the second time, I can't really recall what he was mad about. But I've only seen my brother mad at me, twice in my life. And usually, like, it lasted for like 5 minutes, So I would dap him up. He would dap me up. I'm like, bro, you good? He like, yeah, you good? He like, you straight? Yeah, yeah. And so that's what it was. But yeah, growing up with a twin, who had severe another thing that happens with people with cerebral palsy, we sometimes stutter and we slur our words. So growing up with a twin who had severe cerebral palsy, it wasn't difficult because that's what I knew. I could walk with an abnormal gait and he couldn't walk. He was Mr. Aloha. Everybody who knew him, everybody who loved him, met him, they instantly got, they gravitated towards him. And I miss him, man. He left us about 3 weeks ago. And so it's still an adjustment. It's still a process, but that was my dude. He had my back. I had his back. We had a saying from the womb to the tomb. And it's unfortunate that he visited the tomb a lot sooner than he was supposed to. But at the same time, he had lived life so vivaciously that I guess he knew that. He's like, yo, he's like, I'm going to still do what I want to do, X, Y, and Z, boom, 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 boom. And he's like, I'm going to keep it moving, pimping. You know what I mean? And it's like, he would always tell me, he was like, dog, he's like, you over there stressing over something that doesn't even matter. And even I would say the same thing too. Because there were situations where he was so people-oriented, like he didn't understand why some people were the way they were. And I'm like, dog, it's like, you just got to leave people where they at. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah. It's like, you can't bring people with you, bro. Or you can't force people to see your worth because they ain't never going to see it, man. It's like, you just got to keep it moving, keep it pushing, because at the end of the day, just be you, understand that you have to be yourself at 100% of the time, 24/7, right? And I think that's important. I think, the difference between us, even though we were twins, is that he saw things in black and white too, but he also saw things in color. And what I mean by that is like he understood where people were coming from, their situations, their environment, all that stuff. And it's like, and then once he but he always knew that there was a human side to that too. He would always tell me, he's like, dog, you can't judge somebody off of one instance. You can't do that because number one, you have to look at the situation they was in and X, Y, and Z. I mean, some situations, yes, you can't judge it off rip like that. Because there are a lot of people out there who are good people, who get caught up in bad situations and they get labeled as that, and they're not even that, right? But yeah, that was my dude. I miss him. I love him, and I got a hole in my heart, man. And it's like, it's something that's gonna take. It's time's not gonna heal this, but I know as I progress and get older, possibly have kids. Oh God, it's a scary thought. Me having kids. I think I'm gonna not only take the lessons that my parents taught us, but the lessons that my brother taught me too. Because everybody would always say, like, oh yeah, your brother's so lucky to have you, this and this and that. I'm like, nah. It was the other way around, because you don't get the compassion side of me without me dealing with him, and but yeah, I think it's imperative to know that everybody's time here in this particular realm, this particular universe is limited. We're all on borrowed time. Like we don't know when we're gonna um go. We don't know how long we're gonna stay, but at the same time, we have to make a positive impact on that. And I think that's imperative. To understand that we all have the ability to leave a lasting impact. And the more and more I think about my boy, because that's what I called him. I called him my boy because he was my boy. You know what I mean? Like, like I said, from the womb to the tomb. Like the more I think about him, and the more I see him coming through me. Um, I see the softness that he had with people coming through me. I see, you know, instead of me looking at things so rigidly, you know, over the decades I've been living, um, I become more soft with dealing with certain people. I understand that, okay, like I can't approach a situation this way or that way because you can't handle every situation the same way. Or or perception is reality, right? And so even if there's a situation and you may not think that there's a problem, this other person may think there's a problem. And so a simple conversation, a simple, hey, bro, my apologies. I didn't mean to come across that way. And my apologies, since it was brought to my attention that I did. But let's go fix this. Just a simple communication because a lot of the times it has to deal with just that. You know, people have their interpretation of what they think is going on, but in reality, it's not that. And it's you have to be aware and you have to have take self accountability for it too, because a lot of people will be like, well, X, Y, and Z, boom, 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 and it's not that. But getting back to my original point of this podcast topic, cerebral palsy month, it's awareness month, and there's a bunch of pages I follow on social media. My page itself, it's like I don't post that many workout reels. Maybe I should. I just maybe it's just me. I don't really do that shit for for the likes or views or whatever it is. Maybe because I'm older and I just grew up without social media for the most part. Back in my day when social media was really popping up, the only thing we had back in the day was MySpace. And I remember back in the day where when YouTube was first coming out, you couldn't even upload something longer than a 30-second clip. Now you can upload hours long videos. You can upload, so many different stuff, right? I remember back in the day where you had to have like a special connection for your phone, to plug it up to your computer and export the file from your phone to YouTube and have it uploaded from there. Now you can upload it from your phone. Um, so technology is a great thing because it brings people together, and it's also something that it creates awareness. Yeah, it creates awareness in situations because you can now look at that and be like, okay, that cool. So and so in Africa or Australia has cerebral palsy, or so and so, like you can look up the stats and everything too. You're like, yo, this is cool. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the times in the disabled community, we just think it's just us, but there's so many people out here going through who the same things we do. I remember when I first started driving, and I still want to drive a car that's a stick shift. That's just me, right? Um, I haven't bought a car that's a stick shift yet, but I'm going to. um, I remember telling my mom when I turned 18, I'm like, hey mom, well, when I buy a car, I'm gonna buy a car that's stick shift. And one of my uncles at the time, uh, he said, well, he's like, you can't drive stick shift. I was like, yeah, because I don't know how to do it yet. Me not thinking that what he's thinking, right? He's thinking I can't do something because of my physical disability. But in the grand scheme of things, bro, I wasn't supposed to live past 24 hours. Me or my brother. I wasn't supposed to walk or talk. I wasn't supposed to live to 25 or some shit, right? Whatever it is, right? And so I've done so much shit, bro, that you know, it's it's ridiculous. I was recently telling my girlfriend, uh, I was like, yeah, I got a passport from like I think 2019 or whatever it was, right? I actually looked at it last night. I got it in 2018. Um, and I haven't been anywhere yet. And she was like, what? She was like, what you mean you haven't been anywhere yet? It's like, I just haven't had, I was supposed to go somewhere in 2020. I was supposed to go to Europe in 2020, but then the world stopped. Um, yeah. And I said, well, like we should change that. And she's like, okay, bet. And it's funny too, how that happened. And I'm gonna talk about a whole different range of things too. Um, people with CP, number one, we're a lot smarter than people give us credit for. We don't. Um, a lot of people just look at us and they see the disability firsthand, and they don't realize that there's more to us than just the physical aspect, right? Because even me as a competitive bodybuilder, when people first meet me, and I gotta work on being better this in the gym too. I'm not the most social guy in the gym. I've never been that. I just don't. I don't really feel the need to talk to people that much, right? And when people first see me in the gym, they're like, "Yo, like he's doing X, Y, and Z. He's doing this. He's doing that." Like, yeah, bro, I can do the same thing y'all do with you. I just gotta go about it a little differently, man. I just gotta go about it in the ways that is constructive and productive for me. And one thing I credit that for is I credit my parents for that, man. My father, rest in peace. That man instilled the drive, the ambition in me to never quit. He used to always say, he's like, "Hey, man, the world don't care if you black, yellow, pink, purple, whatever. The world don't care if you disabled or not. If you gotta go out there and you still gotta, make your way, do what you gotta do to make it because nobody's ever gonna give anything to you, bro. Nobody's ever gonna give anything to you because for why? Just because you got a disability? Why? Just because you think you got it difficult? You know? And I remember something. My dad told me. I think I was either in high school. I think I was either graduating high school or I was just starting college. I'm not too sure what the time frame was. And he sat me down, and my dad, this nigga was cutthroat. Like, um, he's like, yo, he's like, I don't know what your issue is, bro, but it's like you keep using your disability as a crutch as to not do anything. He's like, you gotta change that. And I was like, he just kept coming at me and coming at me and coming at me. And like, and it got to the point where this nigga made me cry, But because what he was saying, it wasn't coming from a place of malice. It was coming from a place of love. But what he was trying to say is like, bruh, it's like you can't sit here and use your disability as a reason not to do something. Yeah, it may take you longer to do something. It may take you longer to catch on to something for whatever it is, It's like, because there are people who are cognitively 100% normal, physically normal. And some of these motherfuckers are dumb as shit, And in the end all be all of it, it's like what he was trying to say or what he said, he's like, yo, stop using your disability as a crutch. I understand shit may be difficult. I understand that you may have things going on in your head that you can't really explain or whatever it is, or like you may not know how to verbalize it, but he's like, yo, he's like, the one thing you gotta stop doing, bro. He's like, you gotta stop using disability as a crutch. And so and it wasn't until my later years in high school, I took this theater craft class. And we built stage stage sets, the whole nine. So like I'm learning how to properly paint. I'm learning how to use power tools. I'm learning how to do all this shit. And it wasn't until then, because it's like a lot of guys who took those classes, who took woodshop or who took theater, who took drama, it's like we were all kind of outcasts anyway, right? And so they never looked at me as, oh, that's Mike with a disability. Like, nah, they just looked at me like, yo, that's just Mikey. You know what I mean? Like, and he a little different. Okay, cool, whatever, right? And back, and you know, and I think I needed that. I needed to be accepted in a way, because when you're a teenager going into young adulthood, it's like it's very, very scary. It's frightening, because you don't know how you gonna fit in, or you don't know how you gonna do X, Y, and Z. But I think everybody has their troop, man. Everybody has their clique, I should say. The clique. And some people are great, some people are assholes, whatever it is, right? Um, the one thing I've taught myself as I've gotten older, and I've learned this in my 20s, is like not everything needs to be explained to everybody. Everybody doesn't need an explanation. Everybody doesn't deserve one, and you have to know what to respond to and what to just to leave alone. You know, and it doesn't matter if that's your personal life, professional life. It doesn't matter, because, like I said, everybody does not need an explanation. Everybody does not need to know what's going on with you. Everybody does not need to know your next move. And I think, I'm rambling on right now, but the one thing with a lot of people who have physical disabilities, and I can't speak for everybody, just some people that I know, a lot of them will just sit there and use that as a reason not to do something, as a reason just to stay put, as a reason, to be quote unquote comfortable. I don't want to be comfortable. Of course I want to be comfortable enough to pay my bills, have little to no debt, whatever it is, right? I want to do that because that's important. You should be able to handle your bills. You should be able to do X, Y, and Z. But at the same time, you shouldn't be worried about um who likes you, who doesn't like you, whatever it is. Because all that shit is material, man. It's like, motherfucker, if you don't like me, cool. Nigga, I like me. I'm cool with me. And the niggas I rock with, the people that I rock with, nigga, they like me too. You know what I mean? It's like, so why the fuck does your opinion matter about something you know nothing about? See, a lot of people will talk and like they think they know, like they think they understand. It's like, it's like at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. Your opinion is your opinion. Perception is your reality. And I think when it comes to no, well, not when I think I know when it comes to physical disabilities, it's a lot of people want to sit there and pander to people. It's like, no, man, leave me the fuck alone, bro. It's like I've literally been in situations. I'm like people, I'm out somewhere, and people want to pander me. Like, no, 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 sit down. I got this. And it's like, sit down, whatever. Just chill out, because I'm just like, yo, I may walk a little different. I may talk a little different. I may slur my words from time to time. It is what it is, right? But I think it's also important to realize that you gotta embrace who you are. And for the longest time, I didn't I didn't look at CP as a blessing. I looked at it as a crutch, you know. And it wasn't until my late teens, early 20s when I'm like, yo, this is not a crutch. This is a blessing. Because you can prove people wrong in the shit that you do, you know, in the situations that you're in, because they don't know who you are. They just know what they think they know. And what they think they know is not even close. And and once you figure that out, once you figure out what the situations are and everything, is like you can move a certain way. You can, you can actually not necessarily outsmart people, but you can surprise people in ways, because a lot of times people will place what they think you can't do on you. In reality, that's their perception of you. Their perception of you does not matter in that aspect. What they think you can and can't do has no bearing on what you can and can't, or what you can or can't do. You know what I mean? It's like, so at the end of the day, just be you and understand that you have the greatest gift available to you, and you have to cultivate that gift. You got to find what it is, and you have to nurture it. You have to love it. You have to do everything to it so you can understand what it is. Because I think a lot of times people will sit there and they'll worry about what they don't have, and and everything else. And one thing me and my brother used to do is like, we used to always be like, bro, life is beautiful. And you're like, what? He's like, yeah. We'd be like, oh, bro, look at where we live at. We got clothes on our back. We got shoes on our feet. We don't have to worry about anything big financially, right? We don't have to worry about all that.